Salute, salute.
Yo, what's good?
Yo, what's up, man?
Salute, man. Salute.
No doubt. How you doing?
Feeling- How you?
I'm good, man.
Oh man. It's a lot of stuff with this movie, man. Um,
Yes, 20th anniversary.
I can't believe it's 20 years. It feels like yesterday's, that going to see this film. And I got good memories. I got bad memories, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, we here. This is gonna be my first ever movie review on Instagram Live. I never done a movie review on here. I've always done it on my channel, Darrell Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. But I wanted to do something special because it is 20 years for this film. It was groundbreaking at the time. The way that it was shot with the film, the black and white film noir style of how he did it. Taking it from the comic books and putting it on the screen. 16, shout out to you. And I remember. Well, first I want to know, like, when did you first see it? Did you see it in the theater? Did you see it on cable or DVD? What was like your first thoughts of it?
Man, you know what? Honestly, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember if I saw it in the theater.
Uh,
More than likely I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I just don't remember.
mhm.
Um, Definitely picked up the DVD. Yeah, I saw it in the theater, but I don't remember the theater.
Right,
I wasn't going to because I don't go to the theater a lot anymore.
right,
But I remember that was one of the few movies that year that I went
uh,
to go see.
right.
But I'm a Frank Miller fan, so I had to go
Yeah,
see it.
I know you was telling me about you had the comic book line, right?
Yeah, I started picking up the comic books actually within the last year or two.
Oh wow,
I was coming across them a lot,
right,
but I never really paid any attention to
right.
them. But they're so cheap, it's not hard to acquire them. So I think I'm missing like maybe 3 or 4 copies, and then I'll have the entire run
Right.
of all of them.
And the Sin City comics started in 91 to 2000, and you had different books. The hard goodbye, A Dame to Kill For, which was the second sequel movie that came out in 2014. You had the
Yeah,
Big Fat Kill, That Yellow Bastard, Family Values, Booze, Broads and Bullets, and Hell and Back.
yeah.
And actually, Booze, Broads and Bullets is a featurette on the deluxe. This is the deluxe edition that I have. Um,
Okay.
it came, like I told you, like on the phone. It came with the novel.
Yeah.
You have the novel in here, so it came with the novel
Okay.
and the double disc. And what I like about this set, well, I got this at J&O Music World, and it has like the theatrical cut and the extended recut. And one of the featurettes on the second disc was Booze, Broads and Bullets, and they talked about Rosario Dawson's character and the her whole female crew. They got the featurettes for the wardrobe changes and the set designs and all that. So it was thorough, and they even got the green screen version where they shot the whole movie in green screen, so you can actually watch that version without the special effects.
Oh wow. See,
Yeah.
I got to pick that up.
Yes. I believe it's out of print, but I did see one more copy on Amazon for $12.98. So you might want to rush to Amazon and get it now. But this was like the first. I want to say like the first OG deluxe edition, and it was like I said, like I've been had the novel. I only read like chapter one, like over the last 20 years. So I never read the whole book, but I definitely got to go back and read it. And I saw this film on opening night. On a Friday. Uh, me and two homies of mine. One of my people's Brooklyn Nick. Shout out to him. And I don't know if you're familiar with the rap group Tanya Morgan.
Yes.
Yeah, Tanya Morgan. Okay. My my friend knows Von P from Tanya Morgan, and I didn't know Von P was a rapper until like many years later. But me and Von has went to like different movies and out to dinner. So Von came with us. So it was me, my friend, and Von from Tanya Morgan, and we went to a movie screening of it in Manhattan, and it was standing room only because by the time we got there, there was no more seats left. That's the only time that I went to see a film, and we sat on the floor for the whole movie
Wow.
because yo, I cannot make this up. Like we sat on the floor the entire film. That's the only time I ever did that for any movie because it was so much anticipated. Like the buzz was out there ready for this film, and everywhere else was just sold out. So by the time we got the tickets and we got in, there was no seats left. So I'm like, yo, we sitting on this floor, we sitting on the steps, and we gonna watch it, and that's what we did for the whole movie. Um, the next week was kind of like a bad week for my family because like the Monday after that Friday, the Monday my grandfather got robbed, and he was going to the bank, and there was a guy that had robbed him coming out of the bank, and the cops caught the guy many years later. But that week that Monday he got robbed, and then the Wednesday my aunt had passed away from cancer. So this movie, I remember the movie and everything that was going on at that time,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. I can't believe it's 20 years already for the film, and a star-studded cast of characters. Some still here, some unfortunately not here. Rest in peace Brittany Murphy, rest in peace Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace Powers Booth. Um, we lost a lot of some characters from because of this movie, and um you have Get Well, Bruce Willis. He was a main character. He played John Hardigan in this film. You have Clive Owens, Benicio del Toro, Jessica Alba, um, Josh Hartnett, Carla Gugino. I think I'm saying her name right. A lot of a star-studded cast, and Rosario Dawson as well. And it was basically like the if you read the comic books and the graphic novels, it was the movie coming to life on screen. And I love the way that they had like the black and white effects with like the color in the background for certain scenes. The score of the movie was good. It was violent at times with certain chapters. We're gonna get into that. Mickey Rourke as well. I forgot Mickey Rourke was in it. He played a big part in it. And what 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 did you think of like seeing it from what how did you think about the look of the film? Because you saw it, like you read the comic books and then seeing it on everything display on screen. What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, sorry to hear about your
Thank you.
family and all of that during that time. Um, the best way I can describe it is I'm a huge comic book fan and collector, and my favorite comic book of all time is Daredevil.
Right.
And I just happened to start reading Daredevil when I was in middle school, which was like the mid '80s, and it's
Right.
when Frank Miller was drawing and writing Daredevil. So I caught Daredevil at its best, at its peak. That was the best era of Daredevil through those years. So I caught, Bullseye firsthand. I caught
Mm.
Elektra firsthand. I caught Punisher, Kingpin, firsthand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Foggy and all them. And so the way that Sin City was shot was the exact same way that Frank Miller drew Daredevil back in the 80s.
Right.
So it was love at first sight for me. Now, I didn't know until you told me that the Sin City comic books were out before the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't start seeing those books until many years later. And actually, until you told me, I
Mhm.
thought that the books came out after
Right.
the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's interesting is that if I would have picked up a Frank Miller book, like one of the Sin City books
Right.
now, having not seen the movie, I would not be attracted to that different style of art,
Right.
because that style is completely different than what he was doing with Daredevil in the 80s.
Right.
The only thing that makes that art appealing now is the fact that I love the movie so much. So the movie and the art kind of goes hand in hand, and the movie is actually um, it's definitely reflects his modern art of writing Sin
Mhm.
City, but it has all of those characteristics of Daredevil back in the 80s.
Right.
So for me, it was just love at first sight, and now I get to really go back and read the comics and then enjoy them, because now, because of the movie, I like that art now that
Right.
he does, but I didn't before. So I love the way, the whole look of the movie, everything. It was just like reading Daredevil, but with different characters all over again.
And this movie was directed by Robert Rodriguez. It
The
was on a
Madman.
yes. It was on a budget of 40 million, and it made 158.7 million at the box office. And which led to the sequel was Damn to Kill For. That was 2014. I went to see that also
Yeah.
when that came out. Um, I know they were supposed to do another film, but it never got announced, and I don't think A Day to Kill For had the same success like the first movie. So maybe that has something to do with why they didn't come out with a third one. But the 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 it's four parts, in this four chapters of the film, each with their own stories, like an anthology, crime thriller. And you can actually watch the film in any order, because I know, like, on streaming, the film order for the chapters is different from the actual DVD and from how I remember it in the theater. You know, we have that the Yellow Rat Bastard was like the first chapter in the theater. That I think that was the first one that I saw in the theater. Where that
Really?
started it off. That was with Bruce Willis playing Detective John Hardigan.
Yeah.
He had young Nancy
Oh yeah,
Callaghan,
that's right.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Jessica Alba played grown Nancy, but there was a little girl that played young Nancy Callaghan, and she had gotten kidnapped by Rourke, which was played by Nick Stahl, and his father was um the Archbishop Rourke, and Hardigan was after both of them, actually, because the Archbishop, he was like corrupted,
Right.
you know, within the city, and um he went after his kid, his only kid, and Rourke had kidnapped young Nancy, so he had to get her back. So that chapter was about that, and there was um an underlying theme of that chapter, which is still going on now in today's society, unfortunately. And Hardigan was accused of um I don't know if I could say it on here, but
Yeah.
he was accused of sexually molesting young Nancy,
Yeah.
and that those are the charges that he was being brought up on, and he ended up going to jail for it. But the way that they did it, it was like he was taking care of Nancy until she was grown. She was By the time he saw Nancy again, she was 19. She was a stripper in a nightclub, and but the way that they made it out to be, it was like Nancy had like a thing for him. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm just going off of what how the movie was. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of creepy, but
Well, he
um,
saved her life,
right,
so she obviously never forgot that.
right,
He rescued her from a really bad situation, and she was out there by
right.
herself. So it's kind of understandable.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was like there was a scene where he gets out of jail, and Bob picked him up from the prison, which was played by Michael Madsen. And his character, he picks him up from the prison, and he went to the club, and he saw like the girl dancing, but he didn't realize it was Nancy. And Nancy realized it was him, and she ran to him and kissed him, and they go to her spot, and you had Rourke's people that had ambushed him there.
Yeah.
When John was taking a shower, and they end up putting him in a noose naked. They was gonna kill him. They kidnapped Nancy. But before that was going on, like it was like Nancy wanted to make out with him, and he had to prevent himself from making out with her. Like that's why he took the cold shower in the first place, because
Yeah.
she wanted to make out with him, and he was like, no, this is not right. I can't do this. So that relationship with him and Nancy was kind of creepy. But you know, they end up kidnapping Nancy, and he had to get free and find where Nancy was, and he ended up saving Nancy and killing Rourke in the process. And that yellow bastard, and he was actually yellow. Like the look of that yellow bastard was
Yeah.
crazy. Like the makeup was phenomenal in this whole film. Like
Yeah.
when you look at the characters for Nick Stahl when he played the yellow bastard, when he played Rourke, for Mickey Rourke's character, when he played Marv, and he had like the messed up nose and the whole face and everything, and the makeup really showed out in this movie. And so that was like that chapter where John went to jail for allegedly molesting Nancy when he was young, and he came out. He had to save her because she got kidnapped by Rourke, and he ends up killing Rourke. And then there was another chapter, the customer is always right. That was the one with Josh Hartnett, and I forgot the woman's name. But she had played the girl with the red dress, and she had the short hair.
Yeah.
But that was a short story though. That story, I really didn't understand that, because we only saw like a few minutes of them in that chapter, and then you don't really see Josh Hartnett's character again to like the end of the film,
Yeah.
like when
Yeah.
he met
That
up with.
was like on my DVD. That's the intro to the movie. It's
Right,
just
but
like takes you
right,
into the
right, but
movie, and that was that.
there's like on the DVD set, there's a part where Robert Rodriguez is saying you can watch the film in any order. So like, and I don't know how it was for all the theaters, but I know like for the theater I went to, they
Yeah.
started off with that yellow bastard. That was the first part, and then
Really?
it was everything else. Yeah,
Wow.
but I know like the DVD is different, and even on streaming, I watched it on streaming, and it's different on there. So I don't know like the correct order. If there's any correct order, it might be just watch it, any way that you like, you
That's
know.
wow.
But we don't see Josh Hartnett's character again until the end, when he was in the elevator with Becky. And Becky,
Yeah.
we'll get to Becky later on.
Yeah.
She was down with like the prostitutes,
Yeah.
and Gail played by Rosario Dawson. You know, I wrote a lot down. It's just hard to get through. I don't want to be here for like 2 hours, talk about this movie,
Right.
but I want to just make it as simple as possible for people. Like, shout out to Reg. Reg said he never seen this film, so I want to make it simple
What
as
up,
possible
Jason?
for people that never saw it. We had I think the next part is A Big Fat Kill, if I'm not mistaken. I'm on my laptop right now, so I'm just
Yeah.
going through the chapters. Um, yeah, we had, oh no, A Big Fat Kill is part 4. We had part 3 was The Hard Goodbye. This is actually the name of this
Oh, the Marv, the Marv story.
yeah, this actually the name of this novel, the Hard Goodbye, with Mickey Rourke playing Marv. And we had
Hmm.
this part is about Marv had a one night stand with a prostitute named Goldie, and when he woke up, Goldie was dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he looked all over for the who killed Goldie, and come to find out, Goldie had a twin sister named Wendy. And Elijah Wood is in this. You know Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings. He played Frodo Baggins. He plays Kevin in this. You had Jamie King actually played Goldie and Wendy. She played the twin prostitute. You had Carla Gugino. Carla Gugino's character. She was Lucille. She was the lawyer for she was the lawyer
Oh, yeah,
for John. She was the lawyer for John, and she was the parole officer
Marv.
for Mark's character.
Yeah,
And you know, she was a part of this story, and it's basically like you had it's like a whole night. It seemed like a whole long night of Marv going around the city, you know, beating people's asses, kicking cops' asses, trying to find out who killed Goldie, who killed the woman that he slept with, and you know, you had this one was weird too. This might be my favorite chapter from the movie,
it's
where
definitely my favorite chapter.
right,
We're talking about Sin City, by the way. This the
yes,
movie
Sin City.
Sin City.
20 years today, it came out April 1st, 2005. I can't believe it's 20 years already. But yeah, so this part you have you you had Marv. Marv was he needed help going after who killed Goldie. So he links up with his parole officer Lucille, and he had different weapons that he took with him, and they I, I don't know where Kevin was living at. It looked like a compound or something,
That
but it
was
was like it was
at what's the priest dude, the corrupt priest.
oh the Archbishop. That was Rourke's father. That's Rourke
What?
Senior. Yeah,
That's where he lived. He lived
right,
with him.
right, right. And so yeah, that's right. Because there was a part in the chap in that story where Marv had went to Rourke Senior, and this is like after he killed Kevin. He came in with Kevin's head. That whole scene was crazy, but
Yeah.
um I want to say Kevin was living on like a compound or something. It was somewhere he was living where he had like Kevin was like a cannibal, and he had like these he had killed a lot of women in the past, and he had
Yeah,
like the
that was
decapitated heads.
Rourke's property. Rourke
Okay,
Senior.
so he
Yeah.
was on his property, and he had
Yeah.
like the decapitated heads
Yeah.
like all on the wall,
Yeah.
and um they had tried to frame Marv went to prison also in this story, and they tried to frame Marv for the decapitation of the killing of those women, and Lucille had gotten her hand cut off by Kevin, and Kevin, like when she had got kidnapped by Kevin, and when Marv had found her, she told like she was naked, and she had her hand cut off, but Kevin actually was eating her hand in front
With
of
her
her.
hand.
That's
Yeah.
what she told Marv or whatever. This story's
That
wild,
was
and
wow.
yeah,
That
it
was
was
wild.
crazy, and so we find out Kevin is a cannibal, like he was eating his victims, and you Marv got his revenge on Kevin eventually. Like he ended up, you know, like sawing off his limbs and making him watch. And Kevin was still alive
Mm-hmm.
while he's seeing his legs and his arms get cut off. And then like his I want to say his pet wolf was the one that ate the rest of his remains or whatever. It was
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
But they Marv went to prison because they tried to frame Marv for all of the killings, and the government was so shiesty because of the Archbishop having the control in the city that they forced him to sign this form, and they told him if you don't sign the form, we're gonna kill your mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he had to sign the form, and he spent those last remaining days in prison
Mm-hmm.
for crimes that he never did, and then they end up giving him the chair, and he passed away in that story. But there was a lot of wild stuff going on within this story, and I think this is like one of my favorites is watching the action, with Mickey Rourke, and he's dodging bullets and he's beating up cops. And there was one point in the film where he was like driving a car and he had like one leg out the car and he had like another guy he was dragging in the
Dragging
street.
him.
It was
Yeah.
just crazy. You know, he dumps the car in the river and he's like swam through the
Yeah.
sewer system, and there was just a lot of craziness going on. And just the action made it look like you were watching like a comic book strip on the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it was crazy, you know, and I never seen nothing like that before. This was like truly a groundbreaking film at this time, you know. So that was what basically went on in the hard goodbye, you know. Then we got the big fat kill. That was chapter 4, and this one has the late great Michael Clark Duncan. He played Manute. We have Rosario Dawson. She played Gail, and she had her own crew of like, you know, renegade prostitutes. I want to call them. We had Clive Owens. He played Dwight McCarthy.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro. He played Lieutenant Jack Raggedy. What's it? How you say it? Rafferty. My bad. Iron Jack is what they called him. Lieutenant Jack Rafferty, and you had Alexis Bleedo. He played Becky, and this one was I don't know. It was all over the place. Like Dwight and Gail had a relationship in the past, and he had moved on from her. I guess she was still salty about that, and she made like little. There was points in the film where she made like little remarks about that. You know, oh, there was a point when I think he was like kissing her, and he told her like I love you, and she was like, oh, you love me, but you're not here forever or something like that. You
Yeah.
know,
Um,
and you had Devon Aoki. She played
little
she
Mio.
played yeah, she played the ninja chick.
Mio.
She had like the samurai swords, and
Yeah.
you know,
She's like the, yeah.
she was
She was
also
bad.
in, if anybody ever saw Fast and Furious Part 2, she was in that film as well.
Mm.
Um but yeah, she was in that, and yeah, she played Miho. That's right. She played Miho, and I'm trying to like make people understand this part of the film. There's a lot of stuff going on. Ba- Basically, Brittany Murphy, also the late great Brittany Murphy, rest in peace. Brittany Murphy played Shelly. She was a waitress at the nightclub that um
The,
that
the
Nancy,
bar strip club.
yeah, that Nancy was dancing at. She was
Yeah.
there was a scene there was a scene in the film where Shelly had gave a drink to Dwight, and they were like an item. They were messing around or whatever, and it starts off with Lieutenant Jack Rafferty. Him and his boys were going over to Shelly's house, not knowing that Shelly had Dwight at her house,
Mhm.
and it looked like they were messing around. You know, he was getting dressed. You know, the lieutenant forced his way in. You know, he assaulted her a couple times, and Dwight was pissed off. Dwight wanted in the pizza room because of that, because he didn't like the way that he treated Shelly. And you know, we that he had help. He went after Jack, but he had help from Gail and her crew. You know, he had help from Miho, and what happened to Jack was he ended up getting killed because of Miho. And the way that he got killed was crazy. Like he tried to shoot her, but I think he had like the safety was on or something, and
No,
like
no, no. He took um what was his name? Dwight took the pin, that metal pin,
right,
and threw it into the
and threw it right,
barrel of his gun
and it
when he
jammed
was
the gun, and the gun went back in his
jamming it.
head,
Yeah.
and then Miho cut him, but I don't know, is she cut him in a way where it was like she cut the gun and it was like a Pez dispenser or something in his head, so he was
No,
bleeding
she
from
first
like the,
she cut his hand off.
okay, yeah, that's right, she cut his
And
hand off,
then
right,
when the thing went in his head
yes,
and that killed him, then when they were putting all the bodies in the
right,
trunk of that car, instead of chopping him up, she just kind of
right.
slit his
She
throat.
that's right. She had cut like she killed all his peoples in the car. Like she had decapitated one guy and put a sword through another guy's eye, whatever. I forgot about that. Yeah. So and along the way it was like Jack wasn't really dead. Like he was dead, but he was still alive, kind of. And when Dwight had told Gail like he wanted a car so that he can dump the bodies in the trunk. He wanted a car with a big trunk. And what Miho had did was Miho had she's diced up all of Jack's peoples and put all of their body parts in the trunk. And when Dwight went off to drive the car, and he had Jack in the front seat with him. Jack was still talking to him, but he was
Yeah,
already dead. But he was I don't was he imagining that though?
yeah, that was all in his head.
That was only said
Yeah,
this, but you see like on screen, Benicio del Toro's character is actually talking to him while
yeah,
he's driving the car. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it was like, oh, he's dead, but he's imagining Jack talking to him.
yeah,
You know, and that was creepy. And Jack. I want to say Jack was gonna you know have the car sink into like a tar pit or whatever,
yeah,
and he had like a militia group. He had a militia group come and I don't know who like the militia group who they were working for. They came out of nowhere.
yeah. They were like a kill group from someplace, and they were hired to go get the head back.
Right,
So
and that's right, and they were unsuccessful. Dwight killed all of them, and he took Jack's head with him, and um I want to he had his head. I want to say he showed the head to Manute, and there was like some like peace treaty that had went down, some agreement between Gail and the cops,
the
and
cops
something about
had kidnapped Gail,
right,
and they were going to trade her for the head
right.
of
But
the other
the
cop.
the, the
Not the
agreement she had
cops,
told
but
right the agreement she had told Dwight was that there was something about if the cops can go through their area, but they can't touch none of the prostitutes or something like that.
Old
And
Town. Yeah,
right in Old Town, and if any one of them got killed, it was gonna be some problems. So they had
yeah,
like a they had like an agreement in place between the cops and Old Town and the prostitutes of that area. And once they found out that Jack was a cop, that's what made Dwight take all the bodies and dump them in the back of the trunk. And he came back with Jack's head and he showed Manute, and Manute had kidnapped Gail, and for some reason Becky was there. I don't know why Becky was there, because she wasn't hogtied like Gail. Like Gail was hogtied to the chair, but Becky was just walking around, and I didn't understand that. I'm like, was she
that's
working with Manute?
because Becky turned on all of them and made a deal with Duncan's
Okay,
character. So
that's what it was.
that's why she wasn't. She was because when Gail came to, she was talking to Becky, and she was like, "Yo, what's going on?" And Becky was like, "Yo, we got to make a deal for them with
Right,
them, or they gonna come in and take over." And
right.
that's
Yeah,
when Gail realized that
yeah.
she had turned on them.
I didn't. And the thing is, Gail looked out for Becky. You know what I'm saying? Like she's the one that told Becky it's late, go home, get some rest,
Yeah,
and to have Becky turn on her like that, that was crazy.
yeah,
And she didn't get killed at all. I'm like, well, why didn't they kill Becky?
they did.
They killed
The last scene of the movie, the very very last
the the,
scene of the movie.
the scene with Josh on his character,
Who was
where,
that?
where they like the scene where Becky's on the elevator with Josh on his character.
Exactly.
I don't remember getting killed though.
Okay, so they didn't show her getting
Right,
killed, but they gave you the impression
that's what I
that
think.
that was it for her.
Right,
Because
right, because
he was at the very beginning of the movie, or at
right,
least on the DVD, where he takes the one chick out,
right,
and then the movie ends where okay, he's with this other chick, so we already know what's about to go down.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Becky was on the phone with her mom, and then like when she gets an elevator, like he knew her name, like he called her by her name, and then she's like, "How you know me?" Like you can see the look on her
Yeah,
face, and then it just went off. So I didn't know she got killed though.
because she knew she was caught at that time,
Right.
because she had got away free and clear, and she was doing her
Mhm.
thing. She gets on the elevator, and this dude calls her by name because she give him that look when she hang up with her mother, like,
Right.
"Oh, they didn't caught up with me." And then the
Right.
movie ends because you know what's about to happen
Yeah.
because of what he did to the chick in the beginning of the movie.
And where we're seeing the whole film because we only see really two scenes with them in the whole entire
Yeah,
movie.
that's it. Just the beginning and the end.
Right.
That was
I don't remember
his whole
him
thing.
being in the second film though. I don't think he was
He wasn't.
in the second film. Yeah.
He wasn't. Yeah.
That was mostly like they brought back some of the characters from this one in the sequel, and then they had like some new characters.
Yeah.
Christopher Maloney from Law and Order, he was in it. They
Yeah.
had
Oh, yeah. That's right.
yeah, he was in it. And that was like right after he left Law and Order. He did that film, and he ended up getting killed, and Ava Green was in it as well. I think she got killed also. A lot of the new characters got killed off in that film, and I didn't understand why.
Yeah, I think the issue with the second film was I was told it came out 10 years later.
Yes.
By the time it came out, people had cooled
Yeah.
off on Sin City.
Yeah.
But if it would have came out like 2 or 3 years later, I
Mhm.
think it would have been just as big.
They waited too long because I remember seeing on the internet stuff about when they were doing the production of the film and they wanted I think they wanted Angelina Jolie at one point and she couldn't do it and it was a very different cast by the time it came out in 2014 and at that time people had already forgotten about even the first film so um and it was shorter too. It was only like an hour and like maybe 40 minutes. This movie was like over 2 hours long,
Okay.
and that I felt like it was an all around great film. And was there any favorites, like any scenes that stood out for you
In the second film?
in this film?
Oh, in the first film?
Yeah,
Um, like I said, or like you were saying, the whole Mars sequence, like he was
yeah,
definitely my favorite
same.
character out of the whole movie. Um, so that whole thing with him, it was like so gutter,
Yeah,
the bar, him swimming through the
hmm,
sewer when the bounty killers was
yes,
when he took them dudes out,
yeah,
like all of that because like I said earlier, like with the Daredevil book, Daredevil was patrolling like the grimiest parts of New York.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And so it gave you that feeling that it was all real. Because the cool thing about Marvel comics, opposed to
mm,
DC, is those characters were all based in real places.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So like Matt Murdock and Doctor Strange had cribs in Brooklyn.
right,
They had brownstones in Brooklyn. I
hmm.
think Black Widow was from what is that called? Devil something in New York. What y'all
Oh,
call that?
Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. There,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's pretty
You
much
know,
Harlem.
so exactly. So the fact that the whole scene with Marv in the bar and all of that crazy stuff, him with the leather jacket on and all
Mhm.
of that, it was just like watching something real that was actually happening.
Right.
So the whole Marv, all of the scenes with him in it was like my favorite.
Yeah, salute to everybody. I missed a lot of comments, yo.
Soprano
16,
ending style. That's what 16 said. That's
yeah,
exactly how it was. Yeah.
peace, everybody. I missed everybody. Salute to Newbie the Air Hustler, Uncle Freezy, Mark Nash. Salute to all y'all. Yeah, but I that was like my favorite because it had like the most action. I mean, but each one had action too. But I think Mickey Rourke did a phenomenal job as playing Marv, and it made it see it made it like the way that they made Marv look. It was like he was like a superhero. He was larger than life. He was like jumping from like that sequence where he jumped from like his apartment to all the way down to like the first floor was crazy. You know,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
dodging bullets, he's beating up cops, and it was crazy. Even with Clive Owen's character when he played Dwight McCarthy, and like when he's like he's hiding on the on the edge of the windowsill of Shelly's apartment,
yeah,
and um when when uh when he's going after Jack, and then Shelly tells him, don't go after him, he's a cop,
yeah.
and he jumped from like her apartment all the way
And
down,
then hopped in the ride,
he
and stormed off.
landed like on the ground, and he's wearing like red Chuck Taylors. I'm like, in no way, you would never do that in real life. You would be dead. At least your feet would be broken. There's no way
Yeah,
in hell he would have landed safely on the ground in some Chuck Taylors. You know what I'm saying? I'm
yeah,
like,
he was my second favorite character on
yeah,
there. But when they was trying to get old boy's head or whatever,
mm,
remember the like the Australian dude that
yeah,
went down the pipe, and
right.
then he comes down the pipe and he's shooting
He's
while
shooting, yeah.
on the way down. Like that scene was ill too. You know what I mean?
It was crazy. I'm like, in real life, that would never happen. You would have been dead, And
Yeah,
then he just gets up and then he goes in his car like nothing ever happened. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Oh
yeah. That was
man,
wild.
you know, I had to mention that. Like, I just thought that was like an unrealistic jump. I'm like, there's no way in hell he would have survived that. You know what I mean? But it was a great film, and I love. Is there any character that you wanted to see more of in the first film?
I definitely wanted to see more of Marv. I'm glad that they found a way to put him in the second
Yeah,
movie. Um, Honestly, I love the movie so much. I just wanted more and more and more and more.
right.
And you mentioning that there was supposed to be a third one. I had
Yeah,
never heard of that
yeah.
before,
It was
and I
going to be.
wish
I
they
mean,
would have.
they were supposed to be like a series of films, just like the books. And
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, because part two did so bad, they never made it. You know what I mean? And I think like you said, they waited too long. They waited like 9 years after the first one to come out
Yeah.
with the second one, and it didn't have the same. I remember going to see it. When I saw it, there was nobody in theater. It was empty. It was just me and my friend. That was it. There was nobody else in there.
Wow.
So
See, that is
and
crazy. That is
that came out during the
crazy.
summertime of 2014. You
Wow.
know, so I don't know. I don't know if it was bad timing. It was just people was already done. You know, 16
I'm
said
very disappointed about like just about every comic book movie that I've seen, and
right,
most of them I haven't seen.
right.
But this movie was like true to what the comic book was in every way, shape, or fashion. I mean, it was the epitome of Frank Miller and
Oh,
how he gets.
oh yeah, facts. Definitely agree with you. 16 said he would love to see another episode. Definitely, I would love to see another sequel, at least one more. They gotta have one more sequel for
Yeah,
this. You know, with
I really hope so.
a good cast as well. But like I said, like there's you have the comic books. I thought you was gonna show a couple of the comic books on the live, but there's comic books. They got the graphic novels. This is one of them. I don't know if they're still in print. They should be, depending
Yeah,
on where you go.
yeah.
And um
Let me grab a few real quick.
okay, okay.
Hold on. All right, so here's like uh here's like issue number one of the Yellow Bastard
Ooh,
one, and some of the covers to that one. This is like a 6 issue series. I only have two of those.
okay.
But the Big Fat Kill,
Nice.
you know, there's another
So
one.
that's Gale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's only 5 issues in this series, and I got all 5 of them.
Nice. Yeah, I love the illustration for Frank Miller is one of the best.
That dude was bad. He's like my favorite. I have 2 favorites, Frank Miller and then
Um,
Richard Corbin.
right.
Um, as far as Frank Miller, I think as far as just comics in general, nobody's touching him. Richard Corbin is like, to me, he's just in a whole different class of, you know,
Yeah.
he didn't do too many. He did more underground comics.
Right.
So his stuff was crazy. There's like issue number 1
So
to Hell and Back,
that's
and I'm
fine.
not. There was like nine issues
Mhm.
of this, in that run.
Right.
There's another one, and I'm not sure. I don't think I
Wow.
don't
Yeah.
I don't recall none of this being in the movie.
Well, which one though? Which cover?
It's a Hell and Back, a Sin City love story.
Yeah,
So
that wasn't that
this
wasn't
might
in
be
there.
completely,
Yeah,
completely separate from that. There's a Dame to Kill
yeah,
for.
that one I remember.
Um, there's
So
another one. This one has six
right.
issues in that run, and I've been picking these up periodically. I don't think I've spent any more than $2, maybe $3 a piece for these. You know
Right.
what I mean? So
And,
they're
and it
they're
looks
not
it looks
hard to
like it just
get.
came out today too. That's dope.
Yeah. So they're not hard to get.
Right.
They're not expensive, I should say. They're out there pretty cheap.
And yeah, like I said, like this is the OG Sin City set with the graphic novel. There's a lot of features on here. They got the wardrobe changes and the set designs and the score. There's also like a cooking part with Robert Rodriguez. He was cooking like some food. They had like the cast and crew party after they finished the
Wow.
movie. That's on here. So many different extras. You got the green screen edition of the movie on here. You got the extended cut. You got the theatrical cut. It is out of print. Like I said, there's one more that I saw on Amazon for like $12.98 right now. For anybody wants it, go to Amazon. They got it. But this was a classic film. Phenomenal film. One of my favorites as well. Um, I wanted to show you the action figures, like we talked about. We talking about like the Super 7 figures.
Yeah.
Um, so these are like the Rocky joints that I won last year.
Oh,
Yeah, like the
okay.
from like the first Rocky film, and they
Yeah.
got like this. I believe it's from Rocky 2 or Rocky 3,
Okay. Okay.
and then of course, they got Mick. Rest in peace, Burgess
Oh,
Meredith.
wow. That's dope.
Yeah, like these actually look like the actual characters from the film. Like I've seen figures where they make a figure for like Heavy D, and they don't look like Heavy D. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got the Chucky one also, the Child's Play one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And the alien from They Live.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot. I saw that in the theater. That was crazy.
Classic movie, classic sci-fi.
It's crazy how that movie, it came out, it did what it did,
Yeah.
and then it was like forgotten about.
Right.
And then like what, 5, 10 years ago, it
Mhm.
just blew up again out of nowhere.
Right. And that was at a time when you got Roddy Piper, the WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was in that film, and I remember when he went off to do that film, they were talking about that. You know, but I
I
mean that's
remember
that's
that
a
too.
that's a great
Yeah.
sci-fi film. Definitely. You know. Um, Before we leave, tell the people what you got coming up, what they could look forward to.
Um, just hit me up. I'm just like check out my YouTube channel. It's just simply titled Darrell D, where I talk a lot about comics. records and a lot of pop culture and hip hop related things. And check me out right here on IG where I sell a lot of pop culture collectibles, a lot of hip hop stuff, a lot of memorabilia and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about my favorite movie of all time,
So
Sin City.
for sure, we had to. And when we talked, you had inspired me to do the vinyl challenge video. 'Cause I never did the video for it. I always did the posts. Shout out to the homie from Belgium, my homie Stanley Troy. He comes up with all these challenges every year. We do one for Black History Month. We got one coming up in June for Black Music Month.
Word.
So that was the first time that I actually like did a whole video with each of my picks for every day, and
Yeah, I'm
that was great to do.
about to put together another rap one. I just been kind of dragging my feet on that.
Uh,
I'm gonna definitely put the word out there. Hopefully, I can get to that in the next couple of weeks. I
okay,
haven't seen one out there yet.
right,
So if when I'm ready to record one, if I don't see one, I'm gonna put one together. But that's gonna be soon.
okay.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna need you to come represent on
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
for sure. I'm definitely gonna definitely represent for that one for sure. It's always fun too, like just to dig for like different records to fit each challenge, and that was great to do. You
Right.
know, and thank you everybody. Shout out to everybody that showed up. 16 bars. Shout out to you. Follow him on YouTube. 16 bars. That's the homie. Everybody that came through, Reg, Newbie the Hustler, Mark Nash, shout out to y'all. I might do a live tomorrow, with the homie, forgot his name. I might do a live tomorrow, but I'm forgetting a lot of things on there, but I might go on live for like a couple minutes, just to, be on here and, talk some hip hop and all that. So, if you're available, come through. If not, you can just check the replay or whatever, you know. But yeah, shout out to everybody that showed up. Sin City is on streaming. If y'all never watched it, check it out on streaming. I want to say it's on 4K and Blu-ray. I'm not sure. It should be on 4K by now, and Blu-ray for sure. But definitely check it out. If you love movies, if you love comics, it's definitely all of that and more. Great cast as well. Like I said, like there was some unfortunate actors and actresses we no longer have that's a part of this film. And they all did a phenomenal job. And shout out to Robert Rodriguez. Shout out to Quentin Tarantino. I know he was associated with this film also, but he's not a producer. But he's part of this film somehow. But he's not a director and he didn't produce the film. So I don't know. But great film, 20-year anniversary, Sin City, and we out. Peace.
Peace.